You ready, you long-haired freak?
Yeah, go on.
Let's do this thing.
All right.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Bonding with Mark and Andy. I'm coming to you live from Nashville, Tennessee, and my good friend Mark is coming to you from Hungerford,
Live
England.
from Hungerford, England,
He's got
Berkshire,
the he's
in the
got the
countryside,
uh the
not
Union
in
Jack
Nashville.
flying behind him. It is bright and early on a Sunday morning. For me,
It's
it's
Sunday
uh
lunchtime here,
it's lunchtime for Mark.
so I can legitimately drink my wine as we chat. That's all right, isn't it?
You can have a little wine. I'm having my typical in my Stephen King
You're
red
having your
rum mug.
coffee.
A little coffee, mild, medium sweet.
Medium sweet.
That's become my new catchphrase. I use that from my buddy James himself. We're back talking about the legendary Sean Connery as Goldfinger.
Yeah, it's a great film.
I have finally seen what is considered the benchmark for most Bond films, and I have to say I agree. This film was a good spoil of my rating. I loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I really did, and I did read the book prior to seeing the film. And a good friend of mine, Gary, was saying, "Do you think you should maybe you should just watch the films and enjoy them, and then go back and do the books?" Because as we've talked prior to getting on camera here,
No, I
I
think what
think,
you're doing is great because the films exist because of the book. So if you read the book first, I think that's a good way of doing it.
and you read this one, right?
I read it, but a long time ago when I think it was the first. I think it was either Goldfinger or Live and Let Die that I read first. But it's been a long time. I think what you're doing is a great way of doing it.
Well, so what I do, I'm going to air quote read. I download audiobooks, and what I do is, when I'm fiddling around the house or I'm editing one of the many podcasts that I keep myself involved in, I have it going in my ears, and I truly find that Fleming is really a good writer, and I'm glad that, if nothing else, I discovered the joy of reading his books. Fascinating. The movie, though, is it's fun. This is a roller coaster ride.
The
Let me.
movie, I mean, the word iconic is overplayed and overused, but Goldfinger, 1964, it's iconic. I mean, Bond, was it Bond, the Beatles, and what's the other B? And Elvis. I mean, these are the
Yeah,
three. These are the big things of the '60s, and Goldfinger is the one that's the benchmark for Bond films. And it
yeah. I
sets
mean,
so many. There are so many cultural things in so many moments in Goldfinger.
well, and we'll get to it. He makes a Beatles reference in the movie. We'll get to that. Let's hold off on that, because I had to rewind that a couple times to catch what he was saying, and then I
Yeah.
finally, because it's slightly, he's he's turned away as he says it, but it precedes, or it comes after a line that I actually wrote down, because I wanted to highlight this one line, because I
What
know,
Dom Perignon
yeah, because I was like,
above the temperature of 38 degrees. I
it's
can't remember the
proper.
exact. Yeah.
It's almost like it's a crime to drink
Yeah.
champagne at that temperature. Let me do a real quick a plot summary, and then we'll jump into our discussion here. So,
Yeah.
Goldfinger, starring Sean Connery, of course, is our special agent 007, comes face to face with one of the most notorious villains of all time, and now he must outwit and outgun the powerful tycoon to prevent him from cashing in on a devious scheme to raid Fort Knox and obliterate the world's economy. Um, so we can do.
So there's no Russians, there's no Cold War. It's a straightforward separate villain called Auric Goldfinger who's
Auric
obsessed with gold.
with gold. I mean, there's so much. I'm trying to rein in what I want to talk about. I love the villain. Goldfinger was a great
Brilliant.
villain,
Yeah.
because he's, when you think of villains, and I just thought of this. So put it in perspective. I'm a Batman fan. Grew up reading the comic books. It's my favorite comic book character. I love the Dark Knight. His biggest nemesis is the Joker. The Joker had no motive except just evil. Just an evil guy.
Mayhem.
And
Yeah,
that's what I saw Goldfinger. I'm like, yeah, he doesn't make any bones about it. He wants all of the gold.
yeah.
Um, the famous it opens up with him cheating, playing was it
Gin rummy.
gin rummy. He doesn't need because Bonds asks the girl,
He
why
just
does he
wants
do
to
it?
win. He just wants to cheat to win. He's got to win. He's got to
Yeah,
have. He's got to win.
he loves money.
Yeah.
Okay, let's back up. Let's get some of the numbers out of the way real quick, just so people are on board with this. Uh, Rotten Tomatoes, which is one of my favorite websites to visit, has this film rated at 99. Mark,
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't surprise me.
almost 100.
Yeah.
99 with the critics, 89 with the audience. That
Yeah.
is a top shelf, as you would say, a top drawer.
Top shelf. Top draw.
The budget for this one jumped up a bit. So we started with Dr. No, which had a very small budget,
Got 1 million, then 2 million, and now Goldfinger's 3 million, isn't it?
$3 million, and the numbers I saw, the box office, this thing did $125 million in
It
box
made
office
its money back in the first 2 weeks of
first
release.
2 weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, this was released 9/17/64 in London.
Yeah.
Wasn't released till December over here in the States.
That's right.
So you got to keep in mind, it made its money back just in England, in
Yeah.
Europe.
In 2 weeks, it made its budget back. Yeah.
So this had to set everything going for Bond. At this point, they know like we're on to something here.
Mm.
This film was cranking money in. The different director for this one. They had Guy Hamilton. I don't know. Do you know why they didn't go with Terrence Stamp
Terence Young, he
or
was
Terrence Young? I
trying
mean,
to negotiate. It was all about. It's always about money because Doctor No and From Russia with Love have been successes. So I think it was also he wanted to be involved in a cut of the budgets, and they couldn't come to a deal. So he said, "Forget it," and he went off and did something else. So they got a guy called Guy Hamilton, who
what?
changed the tone of it slightly. I think he went on to have it. He came back to do. I think he did Live and Let Die. Yeah, he did. He's been with the Bond movie franchise for a long time. But the
Yeah,
first, Guy Hamilton, and it
we
changes
talked.
slightly. So Goldfinger's slightly different. There's a bit more humor in Gold.
Yes. Yeah, so that's the thing. I watched a little documentary after I watched the film, and that's one of the things that he said in the documentary. He goes, I wanted to introduce some lightheartedness type humor, but yet keep it Bond. And I really think he nailed it. And from the documentary I saw, said that they kind of set the standard here for action films, spy films, with the Goldfinger. Like everything after it kind of was used this as a standard.
Goldfinger set off The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Matt Helm with Dean Martin, Armand Flint, with James Coburn. Goldfinger is the start of spy mania. There are Mission Impossible, all these spy sort of gentleman adventurer movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
Goldfinger started it all. If you look back at the 60s and popular culture, Bond is massive. Starts a huge trend of copycats.
Well, and I was just sitting there thinking, right as you were talking, and you and I have talked off camera before. One of my favorite shows of all time, and didn't come out to the 70s, was a TV show over here called Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, I love Starsky and Hutch, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's
beg my parents to let me stay up on a Saturday night to watch it.
I did the same over here, and it's
Yeah.
if you go back and watch it now, it does not hold up well. But what I'm getting to is they had that blend, that balance of comedy, lightheartedness, but yet
It's like knowing humor.
but seriousness. They would address the crime element, but Starsky and Hutch and Huggy Bear would have their fun moments, or they'd have Captain Dobie would get mad at because the Starsky and Hutch would be rogue and do what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think because prior to that, again, I know we're talking television, and we can maybe do something later, but you think about TV like Dragnet and over here, SWAT and Adam 12, these kind of famous cop shows were very, just very strict, very crime, and let's solve the crime.
Detective Thursday in Dragnet. Am I getting that right?
Friday,
that's it. I knew it was a day of the week.
But it feels like, and I don't know if you can maybe do a direct line to Goldfinger.
Totally.
But it seems like, I bet if you talk to the guy who created Starsky and Hutch, I bet he was a fan of Goldfinger and probably went, I'm going to take some of these elements and I'm going to lighten up the seriousness a little bit, and I think that's what Guy Hamilton was doing. Is look, we all understand that Bond has got this super serious job, and he's a man of the world, of international man of mystery, but he's gonna have a little fun. He's gonna
Yeah.
wear his little romper
I think
on the
when I
pool.
first talked to you about Goldfinger, you notice the difference immediately with the very first frame when you see that dead seagull or the duck he's got on the top of his. He's swimming in the dock. He's on a mission. He's in Latin America. He's about to blow up a drugs factory, but he's swimming through a dock and he's got a dead pigeon or something on the top of his head. And it's just knowing humor straight away. The tone of it is straight away. You don't need the dead seagull on the top of his scuba outfit, but it's humor and it's
Oh yeah,
different straight away.
you don't need it because it's dark
Yeah, you
and you're
don't
in a
need it.
bay.
Yeah.
But and then of course the fact he's also got the white tuxedo on underneath his.
Apparently, I did look into this. Some of the lore of Goldfinger. Again, it goes back to Fleming and his World War II naval intelligence adventures and stuff like that. Apparently, it's based on some sort of true story. There was a Dutch Secret Service agent that was dropped off the coast or something in World War II, and he had to swim ashore and then go to a party where he mixed with lots of Nazis and Gestapo and the rest of it. And he swam ashore and then took off his swimsuit, his scuba suit, and he's got black tie underneath, apparently.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But when he does that, it's such a. I mean, where did he get the carnation from? How did that survive the swim and all the rest of it? And he puts it in his buttonhole, and he's got a pristine white jacket. It's such an iconic look when he does it.
Yeah.
It's such a great look.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll start going down the notes here, and we'll just have some fun. So we already talked about the duck snorkel, which I sent you a picture as I'm watching it, and I know you know exactly what I was doing when I
As
sent you
soon
that
as you
picture.
see it, things are
And you're like,
slightly different. You're in on the joke.
so let's go. We jump over. We're gonna go down through the movie. So he scales the wall with the grappling hook. He gets into. They don't give you a whole lot of
He's
detail,
somewhere in Latin America, and he's breaking into a drugs factory to blow it up. Is what he's
right?
doing.
And the scene I thought was interesting is he breaks into this office that's in like a big oil tanker, like a refinery, and then that's where they have their office
All
apartment
the heroin
hidden,
and everything.
office inside, which is a pretty smart idea. What's not smart is the fact that they have a bunch of barrels of nitro.
Yeah, what are all the barrels of nitroglycerin doing
Like
sitting there?
that's where you keep it. This
Yeah, yeah,
incredibly highly explosive
yeah.
chemical.
Right next
And
to your heroin supply. Yeah, your stash.
where your office is, like where you're
Yeah.
like, where you be. Hey, babe, hey, Dollface, take a memo. Oh, watch the nitro. Don't bump it because it's slightly volatile. I mean, uh, again, it's fun. We can pick at the movie, and we will, but overall, just make no bones.
He
This movie
gets
is,
in, he squeezes out that toothpaste-like
yeah,
explosive. Look at the way he does it. He's so cool as he's doing it, and then he's out and off he goes, and then he strips off the scuba suit and he's wearing that
and he
pristine
strolls into a bar.
and
Well,
strolls into a bar to meet his contact. But there's a really good moment as he strolls in. So he's done this secret mission. He's in his white tux. He's got the red carnation, and he walks into the bar and he said, yeah, I've done it myself in a dark bar." He goes to light his cigarette, but he lights his lighter and he looks at his watch
yeah,
and he uses the flame of his lighter to look at his watch. And it's very cool the way he
yeah.
does it. It's very cool.
Well, he's very cool in the fact that there's about to be a massive explosion,
Yeah, but look how he comes
and
straight in.
he's
He's
like,
very nonchalant. He looks at his watch. He uses the lighter, and then he walks in. It's a very cool Bond moment.
now my question that I was again just comes to me as we're rehashing this is shortly after this he's of course in the room with a beautiful woman who's in a bath. Is that the dancer from the bar?
Yeah, yeah, that's the
I thought
dancer.
it was.
That's Kerem Bey's girlfriend from Russia with Love.
Oh,
Suddenly
nice.
she's in a bathtub in Latin America. Yeah,
Well, isn't she just a little tramp?
yeah, exactly. She's a tramp. Shocking.
So so the building blows up, and we cut to the bathtub
Well,
scene.
he's got an hour to catch his flight to get out of there.
I
But he
got an
says,
hour.
"I'll be on the flight, but I've got a little unfinished business," and I think that's great. I've got some unfinished business.
So he does. He's going to go, ravage this
Yeah,
belly dancer,
unfinished business.
and she's hot. There's no denying that.
Yeah,
And she
she's
gets
hot.
out of the tub,
Yeah.
and Bond immediately, as cool as he is, he's making out with her. Of course, his
Yeah,
gun
but
is
then
poking.
she goes, "Oh, why do you wear that thing?" And
Yeah,
he's got his gun on, And he goes, and again, this Goldfinger's full of great lines. The way Connery does it goes, "Oh, forgive me." And she goes, "Why do you wear that thing?" And he goes, "I've got a slight inferiority
Yeah.
complex." He hangs it on a hook, and I've got a slight inferiority
Yes.
complex. I
And
love that.
it's a casual,
Very casual.
just I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm not gonna hover on it and spend a
Yeah.
lot of time with it. I'm just gonna
Again, it's very great, very subtle, clever humor. And then he puts it on the hook by the bath and goes back to, and then he got the even better. He goes, "Oh, where was I? Oh,
Yeah.
yes." And it goes back to the way he does it is just genius.
Well, so then carry on with the scene, Mark. So he's making out with the girl. You go ahead and tell
He's
it.
back in her dressing room. He's let herself in with the key that she's given him. He tosses it on the table, goes up to her. She's just got out of a bath, so she's only got a towel around her. She's gorgeous. Bond gives her a good pashing, good kissing. But then, as he's snogging her, he pulls back. And strangely enough, she's got these massive, gorgeous eyes. And he can see the approach of the villain behind, in the reflection of her eyes. He can see this guy, he stepped out from behind a wardrobe and he's coming at Bond with a big stick or something. He's going to beat him over the head. But
Yeah.
thankfully, Connery can see him in the reflection of her eyes. So he whirls round because he's a ruthless spy. It's a great moment.
Yeah.
He whirls round. He knows he's been betrayed. So she gets hit on the head by the guy. And then they have this massive fist fight. It's a great moment.
Once again, he's not afraid to let the
He's
woman
not
take
afraid.
a shot.
Yeah. He just whirls around. She gets hit on the head, and then they go for it. It's a great fight. It is a good fight.
Yeah, and I a slight little tangent there is the interview I saw is the guy who got that scene was I think the stunt coordinator.
Alf Joint, his name was,
And
because apparently the guy
yeah,
something that I heard, the guy that was going to do the fight with Sean Connery in the woman's dressing room, he couldn't do it because apparently he was a cat burglar and he
yeah.
got arrested or something the night before because he'd been on a burglary, so he couldn't do the role.
So they're like, you got to do it.
Yeah, there's some great stories to Goldfinger. It's genius.
Listen, I love these little nuggets of story
Yeah,
that you get. We'll get to one later about Q.
Oh, don't jump to Q. Don't jump to
Yeah,
Q. Because this
but
fight they have in the dressing room, so they have this big fight. Bond biffs him, knocks
yeah,
him into the bath that the woman has just got out of. But the trouble is, he's in the bath and Bond's Walther PPK that he's just taken off is
yeah,
hanging on the hook. So the guy's trying to get to his gun. Bond's completely defenseless. What's he going to do? The guy's going to shoot him. But then he sees the electric lamp that she's been using to keep herself warm next to the bath.
oh yeah,
And it's great. He just sees it and without missing a beat, he just knocks it into the bath and electrocutes the guy before he can get the gun. And then they delivers one of the best lines in Bond movie history. Connery's got this complete disdainful look. He looks at the guy electrocuted in the bath. He goes, "Shocking, positively shocking." And he puts his gun on, he puts his jacket on, and he goes out the door. And as he goes out the door, look at how he pulls down his jacket as he walks through the door. He's so cool. He's got to have his jacket just right. He's just had this big fight with his
yeah.
guy. He's just killed a guy in the
He just
bath.
killed a guy.
He walks out the door. He goes, "Shocking, positively shocking," and he pulls his jacket straight. And then the music starts. It's a great moment.
Goldfinger.
It's a great moment.
Well,
Great moment.
and I'll say the funny thing, and then I love to watch and see. I don't want to say the continuity errors, but they're just little blips. I don't know how it works in Mexico or Latin, wherever he's at in a Latin American country in the 60s, but here, if someone had just been electrocuted in a tub, it would have kicked all the electricity off in the building.
Everything would have shut down. Yeah.
This place was perfectly lit, and I also was like, "You're in a Latin American country. How warm do you need that room to be?" Because
Yeah, why has she got
generally
a lamp on in the first place? Exactly. I never thought of that. Why has she got a lamp on?
yeah,
You're
it's
absolutely right.
generally already warm there.
Yeah. Well, she's just been dancing in a bikini. You're absolutely. I've never thought of that, Andy. Never
But
thought of that.
it's sad. It's almost like it's a curse. This is how I watch films. When Teresa
You've
and I
got a
watch
very
movies,
critical eye. In all the years I've been watching Goldfinger, I've never thought of that.
yeah,
She's in a Latin American country in a bath. She's been dancing in a bikini in a hot nightclub. Why does she need a lamp on?
yeah.
I've never thought of that.
I mean, it conveniently works for Bond, but it
Yeah,
was
of
like
course.
my first thought was like, it's so hot there. But I do this with Teresa all the time, and I'll be pausing movies,
I've
and she'll be
never
like, can we
Thought of
just
that.
watch the movie? I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I said, I just, my brain,
That's genius. I've
I
never
see that and think, well, first of all, it would have blown all the circuits in the house. Second of all,
yeah.
why are you? But,
But it's a great opening
and
sequence, bang, and you're into the music, and then the movie starts, and that music is a discussion all on its own. It's a
well, and also,
great.
did you know? And we'll go ahead and probably wrap this episode up here real quick because we're getting close to our mark. Um, the guy who's in the tub, he actually got
He got
burned
burnt, didn't he?
while they were
Yeah,
filming that. And
yeah.
there's something else that later on we'll talk about where someone else does get injured, burned on the set while filming a scene.
That wouldn't be a slightly aggressive Korean butler, would it?
It would be
It
who
would
is
be. Yeah.
look. I'm gonna be honest. This is, and we're jumping way ahead, but Odd Job, one of the greatest henchmen of all time.
Listen, he's probably the greatest henchman of all time.
He's fantastic.
Odd
But
job. Ah
yeah,
ah ah ah.
just I got my hat on.
If you
It's
know,
not.
you know.
It's not. I
Are we
can't hear everybody
fading
with
out?
it.
Is this the end of the episode? Can I finish my wine now?
Yeah, let's tip a little bit to each other, and we'll just as cold as it was a minute ago.
Red wine with fish. I should have known it.
All right, let's wrap this one up, and we'll be back on our next episode. We'll pick up where we left off. We left off with the credits and the song starting. So we'll see
That
everybody
song.
again on the next episode.
That song. Probably the best Bond theme of all time. Nothing's touched it, really.
It's pretty darn good, although I'm partial to Live and Let Die, but we got a ways to get there.
This has been a Touch of Madness production, brought to you by the creative minds at Tommy Twins Media.